What you eat is what you become, okay? It's not just what you consume and who you surround yourself with, but what you eat is what you become. So stop avoiding your fucking nutrition. Sorry to swear. Hello and welcome to another vlog on YouTube and podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Coach Maya Jean here, the Fit Minds podcast. Today I'm cooking the same dinner that I cook every single night for my family because, Alex cooks most of the time, but this is the same dinner that we have. And I just happen to be doing the podcast today, so I'm gonna film while I do it because apparently you guys seem to really like to watch me cook, which is fascinating. So interesting watching me chop broccoli. Today's podcast is going to be about, sorry if you can hear my kettle boiling in the background, that is the kettle getting ready for my veggies. Today's podcast is going to be about how to stick to your 2026 New Year's goals. We did a podcast back in 2025 or 2024, I can't remember, and it was literally exactly the same, except, I'm just going to keep rolling, except the main difference between last time and this time is nothing, absolutely fucking nothing. But I'm going to do the podcast anyway because guys don't want to scroll back. So let's talk about it. It'll probably be slightly different to what I did last time because when I did the previous podcast, I was at a slightly different phase in life with a very little baby. And now she's a toddler. Things are slightly different, probably slightly better, but still chaotic. So let's talk about, let's say from a busy mum's perspective, how to stick to your New Year's goals. So let's break it down. The number one tip I can give you to stick to your New Year's goals is to, and I've done this in a little reel as well, surround yourself with people who are like-minded and with people who can help you to achieve your goal. So I'm not just talking about me, I'm saying start consuming, listening to podcasts, start surrounding yourself with people who are on their own fitness journey, and believe it or not, you need to get rid of people in your life. Sounds so brutal, hey, get rid of them, cut them out. I wouldn't say like, we're not being murderous or anything here, but distance yourself from people who are negative about you engaging in that process. So let's say you say to somebody, no, I can't go and drink with you because I am looking after myself in 2026, I really stick to this, right? So the last thing you want to do is, if they've done it once or twice, whatever, but if every single time you speak to them and they want to get drunk or eat cheese platters or just constantly do things that conflict with what you're wanting to accomplish, and they are not supportive, it's the most important thing, they're not supportive, and not just that, they kind of make fun of you or belittle you or pressure you to eat the foods that they're eating. And you're like, I don't want to have to fight with this person. I do not want to have to justify myself why I'm doing this. I don't want to feel ashamed. It's so strange, the shame associated with eating healthily or making good choices for yourself when you're pressured by usually people who are overweight or incredibly unhealthy, or if they went and got their blood test done, it'd be a sight for sore eyes. But this way we are as a society, unfortunately, there are going to be people out there who will be hateful and mean, and a lot of it is a reflection upon them and not upon you. It's their issues with their ability to commit to something, or their fear that they're going to lose you as a friend because you don't have the same things in common anymore, such as drinking and eating shit together, and they don't want to have to confront their own shitty habits because they are ashamed. They don't want to face them, okay? And they will make up all sorts of things, like tell you that sugar-free soft drink is bad for you, or they will tell you that, that's unhealthy or it's toxic to weigh your food or live a little or blah, 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 the list goes on. If you believe, and I can't think we can blame other people, but if you believe that a main reason or a major reason that you couldn't stick to your 2025 goals or your 2024 goals wasn't necessarily because you weren't driven to, but because you were surrounded by people who didn't support them or didn't have the same goals, just gonna wash my hands, then that is your responsibility. You need to take care of that. You need to be aware of who is in your life, who you want in your life, who you don't want in your life. I'm going to put this in the fridge. And you want to start to cull those people, right? Doesn't mean you have to like completely cut them out, but seriously create distance between you and those people who just don't align with you anymore. I did it years ago. I used to hang out with a lot of people who drank a lot, and I don't anymore. And I don't miss them, and I'm sure they don't miss me. But see, the thing is, it's funny, they eventually, weirdly enough, in the years to come, you know, they have health problems that arise, they get all sorts of issues, and then they all of a sudden want to take care of themselves, and you've already started doing it. So don't be stressed about leaving people behind. Don't, you know, this is your fucking life. Stop stressing about what everybody else is doing and think about yourself. Be selfish for once. Stop letting your whole year be consumed by whether or not your best friend, your sister, your neighbor is engaging in the same health journey as you or similar. And it's really hard because you end up with very few friends and very few people who are on the same page as you, and it can be isolating. This is why it can be helpful to join a community, right? So like MJ Fit, we're a community. If you're one of my clients, you listen to the podcast, you'll know we've got a group chat. We've got people that want to support each other to achieve good things, and they talk to each other and they engage and they encourage. And if there is no sort of weird like vibe in the chat about, oh, you know, making fun of people because they eat healthy, like that's not a thing, right? And same goes, I'm with a business coach at the moment. I'm in a group chat with them, and we don't make fun of each other, we cheer for each other, we lift each other up. So in 2026, if you want to achieve your wildest dreams, the very most important thing you can do is surround yourself with people who want to do the same or better. Because you cannot climb to the top if you are the person who is attempting to better yourself while the people that you are surrounded by are not trying to do that. And it sounds so brutal, but it's so true. I stopped hanging out with people who behaved in a way that I didn't want to behave, and it didn't feel weird or abnormal anymore because the people I did hang out with, it was the new normal. It was what we all did and we were all happy doing. So other than that, second tip, all right? So we know, change your circle and you change your environment and then you change your experience. It's as simple as that. If it's really hard to get your partner on board, some of the ways you can encourage your partner to start to eat better is to think like the longevity. So like how long you're going to live, all that type of stuff. Encourage him for your kids. Yeah, you want to be around longer for them. You want to prevent disease. You don't want to be in pain later in life. Like, this is the stuff we have to think about now, because what we do to our bodies now, today influences tomorrow. What we do this week influences the next week. What we do this month influences the next month. What we do this year influences the next year. And we don't actually realize the onset of disease, sickness, cancer. It actually comes from a product of years and years and years and years of mistreatment. Not necessarily all the time with things like cancer, but certainly that it can worsen the effects, impacts, and the chances. Okay, we know eating well is a great preventative measure, and that's where you need to start. So the second tip is your food. And I cannot stress this enough, because this is what will lead to weight loss, muscle gain, getting toned, seeing everything you want to see in the new year. Your food is the most important thing to address. And I don't just mean eating healthy, I mean having an exact plan and eat out for you, or doing one yourself if you don't, need to have a meal plan, getting your macros done for you and doing a plan for it. But your food, the most important thing. So if I could list in order of priority from 1 to 4 of the most important things that you can do. Number 1, actually let's do 1 to 5. Number 1 is your nutrition. Your nutrition. Exercise, your nutrition. Your nutrition. You gained weight previously was by eating too many calories, no matter what you did exercise-wise. You can eat too many calories and exercise 6 days a week and still not lose weight, still gain weight, right? And that's frustrating, but that's just the fact. It's just the standard fact of life. You can overconsume calories and end up in a position where you gain weight, right? So if you avoid your food in the new year and you go, I'll just start sorted first. Wrong. No, wrong. Food first always. Impacts everything else. It increases your energy. It helps you lose weight. It helps you grow muscle. Without the food, no matter what you do, no matter how much you walk, how well you sleep, how much water you drink, nothing else will work. No matter how many exercises you do or sessions you do, no matter how frequently you exercise, no matter how long you exercise for, no matter how hard you train, if your food is not right, none of it matters. None of it works. None of it matters. The food is the key to unlock the entire system. Food first. So if there is anything in your day, if you're thinking, all right, you know what, I'm having a bad day, a bad week, or whatever, what has to go? Not your food. If I'm stressed, if I'm under pressure, not your food. Anything else except your food. Because your food determines how you feel. Your food determines how you feel and how you look and how you function and how you everything. How you eat is what you become. What you eat is what you become. Okay? It's not just what you consume and who you surround yourself with, but what you eat is what you become. So stop avoiding your fucking nutrition. Sorry to swear, but I'm serious. Stop avoiding your nutrition and make it your hyper focus. Make it the thing that you want to nail and get right, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult. Do you know what though? So many people say food is hard. It's really not. You just watch me chop up some broccoli and carrot doing this podcast, and I'm roasting some steak and like a turkey patty for my daughter in the pan. Zero preparation with that. It's just pss, and then steaming the veggies, and then I'll air fry some potato. Okay, that is our dinner done for tonight. So simple. We often do this while she's playing in the afternoon. The excuses you make about your food is avoidance. It is not the fact that you can't, it's the fact that you don't want to. You're avoiding it. Oh, getting around to it. Let's go do something else and procrastinate. Stop avoiding it. 2026 is the year that you tackle your food. Your food is king. Stop under eating. Start eating the right foods and you won't eat so much shit later at night. All right. So that's my second tip, food. Third thing is try not to bite off more than you can chew. And that usually is someone over to an exercise program that is too extensive, right? I'm going to train 6 days a week. I'm going to go for runs. Who runs? If you run, good on you. I'm going to run. I'm going to train 6 days a week. I'm going to join a run club. I'm going to, do Pilates. Whoa. Be doing that much exercise. In fact, you probably shouldn't be doing that much exercise. It is widely recognized, even for Olympic athletes, that training any more than 5 times per week, and I'm not just talking about at the gym, I'm talking about training any more, so exercising, higher heart rate, running, jumping, weights training, CrossFit, F45, any more than 5 sessions a week is where we see that significant fatigue kicking in. We see it all the time. Women doing 6 sessions, women doing double sessions, session in the morning, session in the afternoon, like it's too much, far too much. You need to see that is mitigated. So your training load, if you have not trained in the gym ever, probably don't commit to a 5-day training, 6-day training program. If you've just stepped foot in the gym, 3 days of training, perfectly fine. You could also maybe start training at home so it's not so, intimidating, right? We do home training. We could do a combination of home and gym training if you really want to. We've got swap options. We've got heaps of stuff we can do. So look at what is most feasible and doable in your lifestyle, because your exercise activity thermogenesis, your exercise energy, when you go and burn calories at the gym, contributes to 5 to 10% of your total energy expenditure for the day. Meaning, it's like this much. It's a fraction of how much energy you burn to burn fat, to use as energy to do this type of stuff. Exercise is like the smallest fraction, right, of that. So no, you cannot use exercise as a fat loss tool. It really isn't a very good one. What is a good fat loss tool, and it brings me to my next point, so don't overcommit to your program. Do not take on too much. If you have been taking on too much in the past, reduce it. There's nothing saying you need to do 5 sessions a week or 4 sessions a week or 6 sessions a week or double sessions. Nothing saying you need to do that. More is not more. I do 3 sessions myself. I look like this. I've been doing 3 sessions for 2 years, maybe less than 3 sessions sometimes. What my focus is on is my steps. I go for walks. Yes, I go to the gym, but mostly every day I go for walks. Now, walking is a low heart rate form of exercise. So it's not technically exercise, but it technically is. But you would classify it as a low heart rate form of exercise. And usually we would classify our natural steps around the house as something called non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is basically just walking around, right? If you want to bunch in your walks to that, you can, but technically that's exercise, but I would still classify it as non-exercise activity thermogenesis because you don't have a high heart rate when you're going for a walk, right? So that is going to contribute the largest fat burning / energy burning capability of all things. 10,000 steps a day, 8,000 steps a day, 6,000 steps a day burn more energy than a training session. Roughly 6,000 will be very similar, but probably more, to be honest, because leg sessions can burn a bit, but not that much. So your walk, steps, moving, getting on your bum, not sitting down all day. And some of the most common things I see is, this is what people are doing when they're not losing fat. So simple, all the time. I've worked with thousands of women. Not eating enough fiber and not eating enough protein and not eating enough food and eating stuff that is processed, and even if they think they're eating small amounts, they're still overdoing their calories, right? That's number one thing. Trying to take on too much exercise at the gym and thinking that that's going to burn more calories, not walking enough, not actually getting up and moving, sitting down all day, having a really low step count and going, why? I'm going to the gym, I'm eating healthy, why is none of this working? Because you're not actually accounting for your calories. You're going to the gym expecting that that's going to burn calories, and it's not really going to burn very much at all. You're not walking around enough and moving around enough during the day. You're sitting down all day. You could go for a walk on your lunch, but you're not doing that. So this is all this like cascade of effects, and not drinking enough water and not getting enough sleep. The sleep thing, I can understand, but as a parent. So don't bite off more than you can chew. And leading into that, after the don't bite off more you can chew. So surround yourself with great people who want to do the same thing as you. Number 2, focus on your food. Your food is king. 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 I cannot drive that into you enough. Your food is king. Number 3, don't bite off more than you can chew with your programming. Number 4, attempt to increase your steps if you want to lose weight, and if you want to gain weight, reduce them. It's very simple. Go and get a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. That is going to be one of the best investments you've ever made. Number 5, I would say alongside all of these other tools that I've given you. And look, water is important too, increasing your water, because that's your food as well. 3 liters of water, 3 to 4 liters of water, as opposed to say the 2 that everybody thinks we need to be drinking, but it's actually 3 to 4. Water is great, decreases hunger signals, decreases food noise. We're talking about food noise all the time lately and weight loss medications. It's like, you know what? Water, fiber, and protein are actually more effective than weight loss medications. So there you go. So water will help to give you more energy, reduce your shitty moods, help your digestion. The list goes on. Water, hydration is free. Drink more water. So that's in nutrition. Number 5 is, alongside this stuff, right, is knowing that if you make a mistake or you fall off track or you struggle, your new year, you're so excited, all these goals, oh my goodness, I'm going to be a whole new person. Like, nothing has changed from last year. It's just the date. So just hold up with your shit, all right? You notice how like coaches don't set New Year's resolutions. We just keep going like we were before, because as people say, it's not what you do between Christmas and New Year's that matters, but what you do between New Year's and Christmas that matters. To set yourself up for consistency, you need to get used to falling down. You need to get used to making mistakes. You need to get used to not being perfect. You need to get used to having some weeks that don't look the way you want them to. You need to get used to getting sick and falling off the track with your training. You need to get used to shit happening in your life. You need to get used to adversity. You need to get used to the idea that to achieve your goals in 2026, you cannot and will not ever be perfect. You will fail, you will fall, you will struggle, and then you will get back up again. The key to this is getting back up again, not quitting, not throwing the towel in. Life got a bit stressful. All right, cool. You had some hard weeks. Don't let the hard weeks turn into hard months. And they turn into hard months when you start to then negatively spiral with them and convince yourself that you are just unlucky and that life is too stressful to eat well and you're just going to go back to what you were doing before. How did that work out for you, right? Something that majority of the population, I'm going to say this and it's going to come across as very brutal, are lacking is resilience, is an ability to persevere through hardship, difficulty, sleep deprivation, the list goes on. I'm not saying going and punching out a 2-3 hour gym session after you've had 3 hours sleep is a smart idea. Not at all. But I am saying if you need to sleep that day, sleep that day. But that the next day, you can't get back on track. Oh no, I missed a day. It's not all or nothing, black and white. So I guess the final point is, do not take an extreme approach and attitude towards your goals. You are not on or off. You are not in or out. You are not succeeding or failing. There is a gray area in between where life has ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster that you're just along for the ride for. And you are going to have to accept that shit will happen and you need to just get back up again. Don't overthink it, don't overcompensate, don't try and cut your calories further. Stop overcomplicating it. And you know what? Women are the worst for this. Women do it. Women will worry themselves into a ball of stress after a stressful period about their food and nutrition to the point where they'll just go, fuck it. I'm just going to drop everything. I may as well just not try and train, may as well not try and eat well, I may as well just go back to what I was doing before, and then they devour a whole packet of Tim Tams because they're self-sabotaging. That's what you did in 2025, right? To experience a different 2026, you need to behave differently, you need to think differently, you need to push yourself into uncomfortable situations, do things that you don't feel like doing, but doing them anyway. You need to not rely on motivation because motivation is finite. Motivation comes and goes in flickers, and if people who wait for motivation to do never get anything done, because as human beings we naturally avoid things that are hard. We try to because it's not enjoyable. I want everything to be happy and awesome all the time. But if you keep chasing, and I've done podcasts on this before, short-term gratification, things that make you happy now but probably won't make you happy in the long term. If you keep staying where you feel safe and comfortable and warm and cozy, but still stressed and still strung out and still overweight and still tired and still not where you want to be, then you will never, ever, 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 ever get there. You'll need want to be if you keep doing this to yourself. You keep sabotaging yourself, ruining your own progress because, you know, you couldn't get it 100% perfect straight away. And trust me when I say, even like myself, people who are showing up every day, going to training, going for walks, getting exercise in when they can, getting sleep in when they can, eating well 95% of the time, eating on point. This is my focus. My food is my focus. My secret is not I don't miss training sessions, I'm up at 5 a.m. No, that's not my secret. I'm not a super driven person. My secret is my food. My secret is my nutrition and getting this right. And it takes so much practice. It took me years to get my food right. And I think that's the common misconception, is that everybody wants to nail this shit in 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 16 weeks or, oh, you know, it's been 8 weeks, it's been 3 months, you know, like, and I don't know, I'm seeing what I get. What the fuck are you expecting to see? Right? Are you expecting to completely flip your life in 8 weeks? No, not going to happen. If you've seen people do it before, I can guarantee you that they have tools in place after that to keep their results. Or if they don't, they yo-yo. They lose all the weight and back, then lose all the weight, then gain it back, then lose all the weight and gain it back. If you don't spend time in 2026 developing somewhat of a skill set of how to do this, then you won't do it. And you can promise yourself all you like. And here's the scary part of it. It's not funny anymore. You know, like when you get to and we're not playing games here, into your 30s, your 40s and your 50s. It's not like like I set all these New Year's goals in January and it's like it's March now and I couldn't give a shit and I just let it all go. It's so funny. It's not funny. Because by doing that and reverting back to your old lifestyle and reverting back to treating yourself like shit and taking the easy route and just ignoring everything and blaming everybody else for your problems, you will absolutely carry yourself to an early death. That's scary, right? We see a lack of exercise, not being the top one, but lack of exercise, lack of nutritional value, too much body fat associated with high risk of metabolic health disease, you know, diabetes, heart attack, stroke, high cholesterol, like the list goes on, right? These aren't coincidental. PCOS, endometriosis, adenomyosis, they are all triggered by shitty eating. like significantly by shitty eating. And it doesn't mean you should guilt yourself for having a burger every now and then or having some flexibility with food. That's what it should be. Around 10-20% of your intake, pretty flexible, 80% this really good, nutritious, wholesome stuff. And that's it. It's so fucking simple. This process is so fucking simple. And the more you complicate it, the more you overthink it, the more that you think you need to push yourself with supplements and more sessions and, you know, diuretics or fasting and, you know, like just the craziest shit you see out here. Like, you know, should I do a body wrap? Should I? No. And you don't like hearing that. I like hearing it because all it means is that it means the responsibility falls on your head. People hate hearing that. Oh no, I've got to do something. Yeah, you do. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. And you have to accept the fate as a result of what you've chosen. And also, listen, take advice, tune in, stop arguing with professionals. I mean, it's all good to have a debate, but, you know, stop trying to defy what is just normal science and factual, and you're not special, you're not very different to other people. You are actually very similar to other people in the way that your body functions and how it responds. I honestly love it when people say, oh, I'd have to see how my body responds. That's not a thing. Your body will respond. If it's in a deficit, it will lose weight. If you're not in a deficit, you won't lose weight. There is no other magical unicorn thing that happens outside of that. It's very simple. All right, so 2026. If you are serious about changing in 2026, you must change. You cannot experience change without behavioral change. And committing to that behavioral change is scary and it's new and it will give you anxiety and all of these things. But if you don't do it, if you don't ever move out of your hometown, if you don't ever travel, if you don't get your head out of the sand, you will never experience the joy, the euphoria, the success, the greatness that you want and you desire and you crave. And if you don't, and you're just like, you know what, Mariah, I'm happy where I'm at. I don't need to lose weight. I don't need to grow muscle. I'm stoked, which is where I'm at mentally at the moment. Then why are you listening to this podcast? Send this to somebody else who needs it. If you're in a good place, don't worry about it, right? There are people out there who are happy with where they are. They don't need to better themselves. They are satisfied. But I once heard a saying, and I'm going to finish the podcast with it. I heard a saying, actually I got two things to say. And it was that if human beings cease to grow, they stop growing, they die. And I don't mean physically. I mean, I suppose it is somewhat the truth. Cell replenishment and turnover, if we don't have that, we die. But more internally, if we are not engaging in activities and things that challenge and reward us and keep that, you know, cycle of happy hormones coming, if we don't try and go to that next step and that next phase, no wonder we end up miserable. It is okay to be driven and want more in life. It is not okay to sit around on your dot and expect it to come to you because apparently that's what happens and that's how life works, because it isn't. Your life is a direct reflection of the decisions, the actions, and the reactions that you have had to what has happened to you and how you've dealt with it and how you've moved forward from it. And I'm a walking example of that. If you've ever known my story, I used to have a very, very, very troublesome life and childhood. I dug me out of it and I refused to remain a victim. That is your choice. You refuse to remain a victim. All right, that's about it. If you want some more mindset shit, you can listen to some more podcasts. The other point, the one that I remembered, was be kind to yourself. I am very firm with people in podcasts because a lot of people, genuinely more people, think and assume that they need to go to all these extravagant extents to achieve what they want to achieve, and it's actually very, 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 very simple, and we need to go back to basics. It's like building a fence. Like, there is a process for it, and that is it. We don't build the fence fucking upways, sideways, diagonally, downwards, and, you know, make extensions. It's a fence. That's how it happens. A deficit, a surplus, maintenance, they're all the same. It's very similar in the sense of how it works. The last one is be kind to yourself and forgive yourself in situations where you need to move for it. Get past whatever it was that you did or didn't do, and just focus on what you're doing next. because self-deprecation, putting yourself down, I say it all the time, being mad at yourself, feeling guilty for things, raking yourself over the hot coals, it actually doesn't achieve anything, and you're wasting time where you could be just going back to basics and doing what you need to be doing. Okay? It's as simple as that. All right, that's it for me. Thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. Looking forward to doing another one for you soon. It looks like my dinner's almost ready. I'm gonna chuck the potato on. You know, honestly, sometimes it's as basic as eating the same thing every night. And you know, you'll find that so many coaches, fitness influencers, all sorts of stuff, like they all start out with lots of creative meals and eventually just, especially mums, they just end up with their staples, and that's perfectly fine. You do not need to compare yourself to other people. That's another point in itself, a highlight reel, what everybody else is doing. Focus on you and what works for you. Thanks, bye-bye.